Right, so I've started the recording. So today we're going to do Selenium automation. Now, before we start, let me show you where our resources are kept around Selenium automation or Selenium concepts. So this is the repository WebDriver topics. Uh, it's very easy to find. I have pinned it at the top, where here it's already pinned. But if you don't see it, let's say I change it later, you can anyway search it here. You just go and search WebDriver topics and you will get something like this here. So you go inside this, and I think by now everyone knows how to clone a repository. To clone it, you have to just copy this path and go to your command line, write git clone, the project will be cloned. So once you clone the project on your local, you will get something like this. And of course, you have to import it in your IntelliJ or Eclipse. By the way, I use features of the IDE as well to import it. I do like this project from version control, and then I just search the library and I get it here. But as I said, you should try not to do these things because you are still very new to Git, and I would still recommend you guys to try it on your using Git command line and not using any IDE. This gives you better practice on the command line of Git, which is uh, expected out of you when you go to a real-time project. Now we have this WebDriver topics. Once you import it, download it. Of course, if you don't want to clone it, you can just go and download zip also. It's okay, still okay. The purpose is you get this in your system first. Once you get it inside your IDE, then you can find the relevant packages here, which usually more or less has everything on Selenium. And we are going to take this reference moving forward on separate different Selenium concepts. But today, of course, there are a lot of resources here as well, in the sense of some files are there. For example, there is Selenium WebDriver.pptx, which has some Selenium basics on what is Selenium, how this works. And but I have no interest in it. I am not going to talk about doc ppts. I will jump directly into code because that's where the real truth is. So I'm not going to bore. It's boring for me to talk about this. What was Selenium and how it grew? We don't want to know all that. Trust me, no one asked this. Um, so we want to do what? We want to first straight away we'll jump into code, and I'm not going to talk about PPT, but you guys can go and have a look at it. It is everything is placed in the same repository inside files. So we'll see something like this here. So there are a lot of concepts in Selenium regarding how many browsers you can do it, how to invoke those browsers, then some locators, strategies, XPath. So there are a lot of things in this. These are, you can understand, these are topics which we need to cover for our Selenium. So we need to cover these many topics, 1 to 19. Of course, there are, all of them are not absolutely necessary, which is listed here. Of course, there are some which is not even here. So whatever is important and not here, we're going to add it. But around at least 95% of what Selenium is and how Selenium works is present here. So we are going to take this as a reference in coming days, and we're going to keep trying this. I'm going to show you these examples, how these works, how the nitty gritties of these statements, which you will see inside the classes here. One thing is, when I talk about these, let's say today I talked about some specific concept, right? uh, but I usually try to go with your speed. But if there is anyone who can do it faster, I would recommend that guy or person or people or set of people or group to go ahead and try more. So don't if you can go from what I'm trying to say, if you can go faster. Don't try to be in sync with me. Of course, what I say, I'm saying do X, of course do X, but if you can do Y also, just go ahead and do Y. It will be your learning, it will be faster. Next session when I take Y, you will understand it better, you will ask better questions. Okay. So there are some examples here, but I'll not talk about these examples right now. I'll talk about from very beginning, like how you will start. So I will show you project creation, how you will add dependencies, from where, how to do it, and then we'll try to create our first program, our first automation script. This is just for reference you have to keep. We will of course will go and walk you I will walk you through a few of these examples, and you can anytime if you, let's say, not sure about some syntaxes, you're getting some error here and there, you can just come here and see the syntaxes and all, based on what kind of statement, what kind of topic you are not able to get errors out from. Now, let me start with a very basic Java Maven project, and we'll make that project an automation test script inside it. So first, as you all know how to create a Maven project, you just go and create new, create a project, select Maven here. Of course, if you're using Eclipse, it's slightly different way to do it. Um, Anyone here, by the way, using Eclipse? I'm not sure because I am been supporting IntelliJ since the very beginning. I think few of you have already jumped onto IntelliJ. Is there anyone who is using Eclipse? You can put in chat. Oh, no one is using, which is good. I don't have to mention Eclipse anymore now, I guess. Okay, so everyone is intelligent. Good. Then this is how you do it. You click on Maven and you click on next. Then you have to give some name to it. So we'll not give like my first project. We'll rather give automation framework. We get like write something like this, automation framework. But I will also write delete because I would like to delete this later. uh, then you don't write delete because this is not good thing to do. This is like my way of tagging a project which needs to be deleted later. There's something else here called as artifact coordinates. You can choose to write some give some sensible coordinates here. So let's say I'm going to put com dot yantra qa or vision it or vit or whatever you wish to like, whatever you wish to give here. Once I do this, then you can click on finish, and I'll say new window. So this opens up a new window for me, and I have a new project here. Okay, inside this I have src folder. As you all know, we have a main, we have a test. Now, if you remember last time, whatever we have been coding, we were writing things in main Java because we were at that time we were trying to create some calculator program, if I'm not wrong. And calculator program is not a test; it is actually a software which you're trying to create as a calculator program. But from now onwards, whatever we are going to write, it's always going to be inside test folder, test Java folder, because Maven has this way of structuring the code. If it is a main code, you usually should be putting it inside main Java. If you are, it's a test code, it's something to do with the test, you always are supposed to be put in inside the test Java. If you have put your test cases inside main Java, will it still work? Yes, it will still work, but it's not the right way. Of course, few of the things, the way Maven treats the projects, there will be some problem for you later, but this of course could be managed. But it's not a standard practice to put your test cases in the main Java. Sometimes people do that. If they're doing it, they're breaking the protocol. But it still will work. But you have to learn right practices. Your test code always have to be inside test Java. So just forget about this, or even if you want to delete it, just go and delete this package. Okay, because we are not going to use it at all. Then we have test Java inside this, which is what we are going to write our code. Second thing here, which I am again repeating, this is a Maven project, and Maven project has a peculiar thing about it called as pom.xml, which is nothing but a configuration file or something which is a signature, or you can say instructions about the which contains instructions about the project, details about the project. So this is the file Maven reads. What is Maven? Maven is a software which is installed in your system, isn't it? You install Maven in your system. Now that Maven software reads this XML file, and just by reading it, it understands what to do. So that is the whole and sole purpose of Maven projects. Uh, right now, this project has its name, its group ID, and version. There are three things here which uniquely defines a project. So if someone says what is your project name, you will say my project name is automation framework hyphen delete, which is not exactly true. Your true project name is actually this. I'll show you what is a true project name is. This, this, and this. Combination of these three gives you a complete project name. So this is actually your project name. Okay, group ID, artifact ID, and version. This gives a unique entity to your project. So this is what Maven reads, that what is the project name. So when Maven reads it, it says, okay, this is the project name. Second thing here is properties, which is nothing but some set of variables. The variable name is Maven compiler source 15, compiler target 15. What this is how Maven knows which Java version I have to use to compile this project, because Maven is doing what? Maven is doing essentially three things, I would say. Of course, it does a lot of things, but essentially it does three things. First is it compiles your project. Okay. Second thing is it tests your project. It can run tests on your project. And third is it can actually deploy or install your project. Okay, these are sometimes called as phases in Maven, which is a kind of a separate topic I would have to take someday later. Um there are some life cycles in this. It's called as life cycle. If you want, if you're interested, I would better ask you to go and read about this, called as phases in Maven or life cycle in Maven. uh, how many life cycles are there, how many life cycles are there? So I would recommend you guys to go through it once, at least go through it, see what the details are there. Of course you might not understand everything, but as I said, my training you is not enough. You have to do a lot of reading on your own as well. So go and read about phases in Maven, life cycle in Maven, how many life cycles, how many phases are there in a single life cycle. I will take a session on it later, but for now you go and read it on your own first. So there are around 24 phases in a default Maven lifecycle, and there are a lot of phases. And out of those phases, these are the like the important ones, like compile, test, and deploy or install. Uh, we're not going to use it as of now, but there is one more important thing which Maven does, called as dependency management. What is dependency management? This is not a phase. These are sort of phases, but this is not phase. These are the thing which Maven does. That's what I'm trying to put here. And they are not. These are not in context of phases. I'm talking about what Maven does for you. So it compiles the whole code for you. It can run tests inside it, inside whatever test you have in that project. It can deploy or install it wherever you want to deploy or install your software. um, for now this is not relevant. For now these three things are required: dependency management, compilation, and test. So now dependency management is something which you define inside your POM and instructs Maven or any IDE that these are the reusable libraries which you want to use in your project. Okay. Now what I mean by this, I wanted to interact with browser, right? I wanted to open a browser and put something in the text box and do something here and there. Isn't that's what we want, right? That's what automation tests are in terms of UI. But to do that, I have to have something which can interact with the browser, which I don't have as of now. I have to write a lot of code to do it. I don't want to write it. Now there are few guys some years back, they came up with a Java code which is has a capability to interact with the browser. Okay. So those guys did what? They created a Maven project, and once they created this Maven project, they started writing a lot of code inside, and then they created their POM file. They gave it some name here and there, and then they said, we have already achieved this. We have created a library, and if you want to interact with the browser, use this library, and don't write your own code. Use this library to do your to do this interaction with the browser in an own project. How to do that? To do that, you have to put that library which we have created inside your project, right? Who those guys were? Those guys were the ones who created the Selenium project. So Selenium is nothing but a simple plain Java project, or rather Java Maven project. And they have written a lot of classes and methods for you which you can actually make use of inside your own project. So it just, you are trying not to reinvent the wheel, and you're trying to do it, you make by making use of the library which they have created for you, right? But how will we find it, and where we should put it so that it could be used? So first thing is, you go to Selenium. This is your Selenium main URL. This is where everything is. This is the main official website of Selenium. They're open source, so if you want to download something, you just go here, and you have two ways. Either you just click on latest stable version. Once you click on this, it will start downloading a file called as Selenium server standalone. Now this is for, or you can also see jar file, right? This is for the people who are not using Maven. Because if you're not using Maven, then you have to import this file in your project, because you have to make use of this classes and methods. So if you're not using Maven, then you have to do this. If you are using Maven, then you don't need to download this. You have to go to, let's say here. Oh, this is again a jar. I don't want to have a jar. Mm, Maven information. See Maven information. If you are using Maven, then you can find more information here. I'll go here. So they say if you want to make use of Maven, you just put this in your POM. You see, to start this, you add this dependency in your POM file. So once you add this dependency in your POM file, then your automatically you will have our libraries. That's what they're trying to say. So this is a stable version called as 3.141. This is the next version called as 4.beta 3, as your name suggests, still in beta. So we will not be using beta versions for now. We'll using 3.141.59. Once this beta is removed from the latest four versions, then you can start using it. I mean, you can still use it. It's still good enough for you to use, but we'll keep with the stable version 3.141.59. So where to put it? They said put it inside here. So if you do this, you will start getting errors. Okay, so a lot of people ask this question, "Well, I'm getting error, I don't know what to do." So what to do is you have to wrap this inside another tag called as dependencies. So you have to put it here. Here you just see this and you will say, oh, this is not working, right? So don't just copy and paste here. This is like basic mistake people make. Put this inside dependencies, and inside that you have another tag called as dependency, and then you have it here. If you uh, expand external libraries, you won't find anything else apart from JDK 15. The reason behind this is because project still have not, you have to go to Maven and reload the project. The moment you do that, you see these things will come here. That means Maven has downloaded this library and connected it, associated it with the project. That's what it means. So the moment I have put it here, I see these Maven libraries coming here. And it's very easy to understand. If you just go here, expand this, uh, you see classes, right? These all are, oh, this is not Selenium class. I think this is the one. So I'll go here just to show you what is there in these libraries. You see, these are class files. You see, these are all class files. So this is the code which Selenium guys wrote maybe 20 years back or 15 years back, and they have kept on enhancing it, and then they said you can use it for your own work. So they might have created it for their own work, but they were so good in creating it, and they made it so good that they wanted the whole world to use it, and we all are using it now. Our jobs depends on it. That's the kind of work they have done, right? So this is what, these are all the class files, and class files is what simple, all the code resides inside classes. And how to use them: you create objects out of them, then you call methods, and that's how it works. So it's that simple. So as I said, Selenium is not a complicated thing. It's very easy to do. Of course, it in some context, right, creating some complexities, handling complexities of the framework is where things gets tricky. So Selenium is in itself is very easy to learn and very fast. You can learn it very fast. Okay, once this is done, once you have the library, once you add it in the pom.xml, then you can just go and reload, right click, and reload, Maven reload project, this should come. If you're doing it for the first time, maybe it will take some time because it is being downloaded from internet. And once it is downloaded, you will see, once while it is downloading, you will see something here. It say downloading something, and then it should be okay after a while. First time it will show some error here. After some time you do reload project, it will start working. Now once you do that, then you have to start writing the code. So far, any questions? No.
No.
No, of course.
Okay, so this part was pretty basic actually. Now let's start with our first script. What we'll do, I'll go to new, I'll go to package. I can put direct class here also, but it's not a good way, so I'll say com dot, let's say, inside this I will go and create a new class. This much, sorry, this you already know. So right now we'll keep it simple, we'll not go and add any test framework. We simply say uh, test script. Inside this we will just go and create a public static void main, because that's where you have to write code, isn't it? So I'm just creating a simple class and a public static void main here. Now comes the real part. Now let's say we have a website. Okay, and let's say which website to take. Let me take some existing one which we already been using. Let's see, let me check which one we can use. Or maybe just let's use simple google.in, which is like very simple example. Rather I would like to use some complex one, something which make, maybe this one. Let me use this one. So this is a sample demo website by a website called as called as automation testing.in. So this is just page which they have created, and we'll try to use this. So what you want to do is, let's say this is your application, also called as AUT, application under test. And this is what you have to automate, in the sense you want to do what? You want to test it. When you want to test it, you want to perform some manual operations on it. So let's say I want to open the URL, open the browser, then put the URL, navigate to the URL, and then I will try to see what I want to do. I want to put some email ID here, so I'll say this is my email ID, and I want to click on this button, arrow button, and once I do that, I'll get this form. Then I want to do something here, some writing, some here, I do something, this, some keyword here, some phone number here, select this, check, select this. This is radio group, this is check boxes, this is drop down, right? So different kind of ways, different kind of controls, so we call them as controls to do it. Now when you do it manually, before you do it manually, you write some steps. What steps do you write? So I'll write steps. Steps are: first, open browser; second is navigate to URL; third is what? Third is enter email ID; fourth is click on submit button, which is actually nothing but an arrow click. There was an arrow which we clicked, arrow click. Then, and I think that's it. Let's do this much. Okay, so when we get this page, and then we get a something called as register as the title. So we'll say, okay, once this is done, then my title should be displayed as register. You know what this is? This is a test case. This is called as test case. A test case is nothing but a series of steps where you do some actions. These are the actions, and then you do a validation. Now validation can be multiple. Right now I'm only doing one validation. There could also be other validations saying, once I do that, I will see these form, I would see these things, I would see a header called as this, I would see these menus. So these are also can be my validations, but right now I'll only put one validation. That means once I click on the button, the page header will convert or change to register. Previously it was index, you see. The moment I do this, it changes to register. Okay, so this is what we will try to do. So this is the test case. Manually it is easy to do, but we'll try to convert this into our automation script. Now how to do it is what I'm going to talk about next. So when you want to use Selenium to do these steps, in Selenium there are methods, and those methods you will use to perform these operations. But methods cannot be accessed by themselves. You need to create methods reside inside classes, and you need to create objects out of those classes, and only then you can invoke the methods. So what we'll do, we'll start writing the steps. So first and foremost, you need to write web driver, come on, is equal to, I don't know what's happening to my typing today, new Chrome driver. What this statement is, the moment you do this, this is an instruction saying this web driver is a, you can understand it as a class, and inside this we have some methods. Those methods, once I start invoking, will perform these operations. Okay, so the moment you do this, this gives an instruction to open a browser. And here if you see, I have written Chrome driver, so it will open a Chrome driver. I want to open, if I want to open a new different kind of browser, I will say Firefox browser. If I want to open Edge, it'll say Edge browser. So based on what browser you want to invoke, you will have to write this there. Okay, once I do this, then I get something called as a driver object. Once I do a dot, I get lot of methods. So these are the methods which are going to use to interact with the browser. So how will you how are you instructing your code? By writing, creating an object called as WebDriver, and that object you will invoke the methods against it, and those methods will perform the operations for you. So first, open browser is being done by this statement. Second is what? Navigate to URL, isn't it? So we'll say dot get, or you can say navigate. There's a difference, subtle difference between these two. I'll not go into detail right now. We'll try to get it things simple. So whenever you want to navigate, always use get. You you will go inside get, and then you have to pass this argument. So I have to put go here. Let me show it again. So we'll say get. You see, in the get we have something called a string URL. This tells me that this get method takes a string, which is a URL. So I'll do what? I will put my URL here. Okay, so I have two steps done. So this was my step one, this was my step two. Okay, now let's see whether this works. So how to test it? You do a right click, you click on run. Now as soon as you run this, you will get this error. Okay, now what this error is, whenever you get, whenever something is not working, always first go and read the error thoroughly. Don't just start shouting and jumping saying things not working, things not working, code is not working. Don't start doing that. Go through the error, have some patience, and see what it is trying to tell you. Okay, so here it's telling me that this is the stack, this is the line it has originated. So I go and click here, it tells me this is the line which is from where the error is originating. So this method, this invocation, this creation object is throwing this error. What is the error? Illegal state exception. Okay, it doesn't make much sense. Then it says something called as the path to the driver executable must be set by the webdriver.chrome driver system property. Now, what it is trying to say here is, and it's also giving some link saying, go here, see the latest version can be downloaded from here. It's giving you some link also. So if I just go and click on this link, I come here. Okay, now this is where you have to download the latest Chrome version. Why? The idea with Selenium is simple, which is, if you want to invoke, if you want to open a browser and interact with it, the Java code will not directly do it. There is a agent in between, and you have to talk to that agent, and that agent will actually go and talk to the browser. So if I explain this quickly with a soft form, with a simple whiteboard diagram. So it is something like this. This is your Java code, this is your agent, and this is your browser. So this is your Java, right? So I'll say Java, I'll say agent, and I'll say your browser. So your Java doesn't talk to browser directly. This doesn't happen. Java talks to agent, agent talks to browser, browser talks to agent, agent replies it back. This is what happens. Right now, why I'm getting the error? Because the Selenium is complaining it is not able to find the driver executable, also called as agent, because this is missing. Sorry, this is missing. So we need to get this first, and once we get this, only then our this code will start working. How to get it? This is what they're telling. This is where you can go and download it. How you will know which one to download? It comes with the version of the Chrome. So you have to go to your Chrome, see what is the Chrome version. For me it is 90. I'll go back here, I'll go to this version 90, and then I can download this. I have downloaded this Mac 64 because I'm on Mac. Almost all of you should be on, I think is on Windows. So download Windows 32, Chrome driver Windows 30. Don't worry that you are in 64 or 32. You all, it always, it's for Windows, it only has this version which works. So you have to
No, Akash,
yeah, carry on.
uh, will your code only.
You see what?
Whiteboard only we are able to
uh,
see.
sorry, let me go back. I'm sorry. Now you see, right?
Yes, Akash. Yeah,
Okay, my
fine.
mistake. You see this error, and this error you have see this link. You click on this link. You come here. You go to your browser. You go to about Google Chrome. You see the version, whatever version you have here. You go and download it from there. That specific library. Okay. If you are worried or you don't find this link, you just simply write Chrome driver. It will bring you here, and here you will see what version you want. This is the driver, this is the agent we want. Without this agent your Selenium script will not work. So we'll do what? You go here and you download Windows 32 one, Chrome driver Windows 32. Okay, once you do it, it gives you an exe file. Okay, so let's say I do it, and this is my file. This will give me Chrome driver.exe. You have to copy this file, go to the project root. So my project root is where? Here, which is this one, and paste it here. Okay. Once you do this, that means you will see it here, right? You will see it here. Once you see it here, and when then you run it, it will work for you. Mine is a Mac system, so this exe will not work for me. So I have to do what? I have to download my Mac version, which I've already done it before. This is my latest Mac version Chrome driver. So I will go here and I will paste it. I will do the same thing. I will go here and where is it? Yeah, here, and I will paste it. Make sure the name is always Chrome driver. Okay, this should be the name. If you have named something like this, it's something this or that, it won't work. Okay, so make sure it is as it is what you are downloading it from internet. Of course there are ways to do it that we'll talk about later, but to keep things simple, you just keep the file here. Okay, once I do this and if I run it, let's see what happens now. Okay, I'm getting this error. You won't get it. This is like max security feature. I have to disable it. Oh, okay. So now it should not come if I go and run it again. So now it's saying I'm starting Chrome driver, and it has started the Chrome driver and navigated. So these two steps it has done, right? Now we'll do the next step. Next step is I want to do something here. I want to put some email here and click on this button, isn't it? So I will do what? I'll right click and it'll do a inspect. Now this is where your HTML skills comes into picture. This is the reason, if you remember, in the very beginning I've been asking you guys to read about HTML, because without knowing or having a better understanding about what HTML is and how HTML works, you will not understand a thing in Selenium, because Selenium all works with HTML. All the statements in Selenium are dealing with HTML of the page and not the UI part of it. Now what I want to do, I want to enter email ID. Now to enter email ID, I have to actually do two things, which you don't do it when you do it manually, because your eyes and hands are in full coordination. You don't have to do these steps separately, you automatically do it. But it comes to code, you have to educate the code, you have to tell the code what you really want it to do. So to enter email ID, you have to do two things. First is you have to find the element. Find the element. We call this element also called as locator. And second thing is you want to perform operation on it. Right? These are the two basic things you would have to do, isn't it? So this is what you have to instruct the Selenium to do. And first you find the element, then you perform the operation. How to find the element is why HTML is necessary. To find the element, you need to first locate it. Now each element has a unique space in the HTML. How to find it? You click on select an element, you hover to it, click on it, then it will tell you where this element is. And if you see the different body divs, and inside this is the element which you want to do. So you want to tell this, you have to tell this to a Selenium script or Java code that this is the element I would like to click. Now what this element is, it has special tag called as input, and it has some attributes also called as its characteristics or properties. It's very similar to object and class, right? So this is a type object of type input, whose properties are id as email, type as text, something like that. It's something like you are for example, let's say if I talk about myself, so I am Akash, and my gender is male, my DNA has this value, my hair color is this, right? These are properties, my characteristics. So this is the similar concept here. ID, type, these are these elements, unique entities, unique properties. They might not be unique at all time, but they still tell something about this specific element, and that is what we need to fetch and write here, so that my Java code or Selenium code also understands where to find the element. Because first of all you have to find it, and then you have to perform the operation. So how to do it? Now in Selenium we have a way. So we'll say step 3 point A called as find the element. How to do? We'll say driver dot find element. It's that simple. You say I want to find the element. Now how you want to find the element? You will say by dot, there are different ways: xpath, id, class name, link text, name, tag name, xpath, sorry, there are around 5 6 ways of doing it. We'll go and see what do we have. So we'll say okay, it has an id called as email, which is unique enough, which is unique value, because there's nothing else in this page which has the value as email, on whose id has a value of email. So what we'll do, we'll say by dot id, and then here we will put email. This gives me my element, but this is not really giving me anything unless I store it somewhere, because this find element returns me what? It returns me a web element. You see, I just clicked on this and it took me to the source code, and it's telling me this is what it is returning me. It is returning me a web element. So I have to create a web element object. I will say email. So whatever it is, whatever it will do, it will return me this specific object or locator in the variable called as email, which is of the type web element. Okay, Once I have done it, that means I have done the find the element. Next thing I will do what? I will do step 3.b, which is perform operation on it. Okay, which is email dot send keys, isn't it? That's what I want to do. I want to send some keys to it, some values, some text. So I'll say dot send keys, and I will say Akash, this is my email ID. All right, that's done. Let's try to run this. Let's see if it is able to do it. So I will close this browser, which is the previous one. You see it has done it. I think you didn't see it. Let me just run it again. I'll run it. So it is opening the browser, navigating and putting value to it. Okay, that means this much code is working. Next thing is I will go and I will have to click on this button. Is it? Its ID is enter image, right? Same thing I have to do here. Check on submit button. The same thing will happen here. A is find and B step is perform click operation. Right? This is what I have to do. So what I'll do, I will come here, but this time I will not break the statement. I will do it in a single step. So I'll say step 4, A and B both in the same statement. How to do that is what I'm going to tell next. So we'll say driver dot find element by dot id. How do I know I have to use id? Because that's what it is mentioned here. So I can use this id. If an element has an id, use that, because ids are usually kept uh, unique by the developers. It's not the always the case, but mostly it's designed this way. So I'll say id as enter image, and I will just put this here. Make sure you are right using, like you are using these codes. Sometimes people do that and they shout it's not working, so don't be that guy. Once you do this, then you put a dot and you perform an operation. So see, I merged two steps in the same statement. Previously we divided these two statements. First try to find it and then we perform operation on it. This statement I'm directly doing, and I'm saying driver dot find element this gives me an element, and then I'm performing a click operation on it. Oops, click operation on it. So you don't have to actually do this, you can directly do it. Okay, once I do it, then I have to do what? I have to do a validation, isn't it? Because this is a test case, this is just not actions and results. This is a actually validation. You have to perform a validation. Validation is title should be displayed as register. So I have to, once it reaches there, I have to fetch the title. So how I'll fetch the title of the page? I'll say driver. Now what driver here is, as you know, driver here represents browser. So whatever you want to do with the browser, it will always will be starting with the driver. So driver here means browser. I want to find something in the browser, so I'll say driver dot find element. How you want to find it, then I'll use by. This is how I want to find it. Once you have found it, what you want to do? I want to perform an operation. That's all Selenium does. It gives you a browser object, it navigates, then you find the elements inside it, and then you perform operation on it. That's all it is. Okay, it's that simple. Then driver dot find element by dot id entering dot click. This gives you some mixture of finding as well as performing operation. But next you have to do what? Validation. In validation, you don't want to perform any operation. So validation is a special kind of thing where you don't perform an operation. You actually check something. You check whether the state of the application is what you expect it to be, right? So you expect this title of the page to be register, right? This is what you wanted to do, that once you navigate, the page title changes to register. Is it changing to register? If it is changing to register, that means your test is passed. That means your application is behaving as per what you expect it to behave. But if it is not converting it to registered, it means the test is failed. So this statement is what you have to put. They are also called as validation, also called as assertion. Okay, right now we are not using any assertion library like which is being provided by testng or junit or hemcrest. We're not using any of that, any of that. So we'll just try to simply print the statement. Okay, so what we'll do a if condition. Before if condition, let me fetch the title first. We'll say driver dot what was the statement? No, I missed it. Driver dot get title. Okay, when you do a dot get title, it gives you the title of the page. So if you do a get title before you perform these operations, the value will be different. When you do it after you perform this operation, it should be different. Previously it is supposed to be index, and then it was supposed to be uh, register. Then you have to store it somewhere. So I'm storing it in a value called as title. Let's say after. This will store the value of the page once you perform this operation. Then I will use here an if condition. I will say if title after dot equals ignore case register. If this is the case, then type system dot out println type test case is passed, else test case is failed. So this becomes your what? This becomes your validation. Okay, so if I go and run this again, clicked on it, page title is coming is register. Let's see what happens here. It's saying test case is passed. That means it has fetched the title and it has did this check, and it has come here. Now let's try to debug it as well, so that you know how to debug it. I'll put a breakpoint here, and I will go do a right click. I'll do a right click and I will click on run. Sorry, I'll click on debug. So once I do this debug, it should stop here, and then I'll show you what is the at runtime, how it is fetching the value. Okay, it has stopped here. So now here you see the value of the title after is coming as registered. That means it has at runtime it has tried to find the value which it has fetched. The value here is registered. Okay, and if I go and check, and it's actually telling me here the value of the this expression is actually true. And since it is true, that's the reason it is actually able to come here. Okay, any doubt so far? So I have tried my best to explain this in a very simple manner. So few of you who are already familiar with it might have a boring session today, but if you are very new, this should help in making your first script. Any doubt so far? Anything which you needs explanation for? Very simple, is it?
Hello?
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, Akash, when we are in step one, actually, why we are when we are creating object now for a class, we use a new class name, right? We used a Chrome driver here. In the first time, we used WebDriver. Actually, both should be same, right? Kind of thing.
No, so this is the concept of inheritance, also called as upcasting, also called as runtime polymorphism, which is a different concept. Which is if you have a class and then you have a parent of the class, then you can assign the child class object into the parent class variable. This is how it goes. Okay, so this is a
Thank you.
inheritance concept. We'll talk about it later also, because this is what is required when to do cross browser automation. So the idea here is, I'll since you have raised it, I'll just open the whiteboard again to show something. So I'll clear this. So idea of this concept is, when you have a class, let's say this is your class A, and then you have a class B, and then you have a
Okay.
class C, let's say, and there is an inheritance relationship between these. That means B and C are inheriting from A. That means B extends A. You remember we write B extends A and C
Yeah.
extends A, right? When you do that, then
Correct.
you can write this statement, which is A object is equal to new B. So this is allowed in inheritance, runtime polymorphism in some sense. Okay, and that
Oh,
is what is
okay.
happening. So right now, if you see, if I put this in this way, this is your web driver, this is your Chrome driver, this is your Mozilla or Firefox. Then there's another one called as D, or also called as Edge. Then you have Opera, and this is this. Then you have something else. They
So we
are inheriting
we
from.
are accessing methods from both classes, right?
Not both classes. You can understand it as we are accessing the methods defined in the Chrome driver, but they are all being inherited from here, which also have been overridden. So eventually the methods are which is being triggered are the ones which is defined in Chrome but are overridden.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
Okay, so this,
yeah, I understand.
yeah, so this can be a different, I mean, if you want to go through it further, let me share the original one again, the desktop. Come on. Yeah. So if you want to go through it, you just go here and just start exploring. You click here, you'll see this is an interface. Okay. um, a interface has methods but doesn't have any description. Anything how you will do it doesn't have. So if you say WebDriver equal to WebDriver, oops, it won't allow you, because
Yeah.
there's nothing inside. If you go inside this, there is no methods. I mean, there are methods, but there's no concrete implementation of it. So this is how the Selenium team suggests that your method should, these are the method you should have, but I will not tell how to implement it. You as a browser provider, you have to write those method details, how you want it to happen. So when Chrome guys wanted,
Okay.
they actually added their own implementation. Okay, so they added their own implementation.
Okay.
Go through these library and just go through it here,
Sure.
and you will get some idea about it.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. All right. Any more questions? All right. So, tomorrow what we're going to do, you remember I have posted something in the group saying that our session will be in the morning. So what you guys will be doing is automating this page. So of course you have to do what I've done. So you will try this, and then you have to automate this whole page. There is no rocket science here. Exactly the same what I've told you. You have to do a right click, do a inspect, and then click on this full name, first name. Sorry, here you will find some difficulty in getting the value out, which I will educate you. But this is the activity which you will not do offline. This is something which we will try to do together in tomorrow's session. So tomorrow's session is exactly not going to be the session, a regular session where I speak and you listen. It's going to be a workshop. Now this is a concept which says that we all will be logged in. You will log in using your system and computers, not your mobile phones, of course, and then you will be doing it during the session. And while you do it, you will face issues, and I will be here to tell you the mistakes which you might have been making. Okay, so tomorrow is what this is what we have to do. But before you do that, before we jump into doing that, I expect you guys to complete till this much, so that we don't struggle in creation of new project, because it's going to be limited time in the morning. So we I don't want you guys to start with the basic of creation of the project. So I want at least this much you should do before you come in tomorrow's session. So tomorrow's session we'll start with here. So I will explain you how we will be putting these values here. I will tell 2 3 fields, and then I would wait for you to complete the full form. Okay, and this is what is our activity in tomorrow's session. So we'll be completing this form, and if time allows, I will explain few more concepts from the series of tutorials which we have created here. So I will be covering few more concepts from here, different ways of doing it. But tomorrow's focus is on you automating this page during the live session. The purpose of this activity is, whatever challenge you are facing, you get them sorted in front of me, so that you don't struggle much the whole week. And sometimes people have that kind of inertia, they want to do it but they are not getting enough push to start doing it. So this activity also helps in that, in breaking away from your inertia. Okay, so I hope no one bunks the tomorrow's class. Whoever is today, I expect all of you at least to be there, if not more. It is an activity not to test you or judge you, but it's an activity to do some hand holding, which we have done earlier. And this time, since we are starting something new called as automation with Selenium, so I wanted to do this hand holding in the form of this workshop. First 2 3 classes we are going to run very slow, so I am going very slow. Very simple thing I have told you. Tomorrow I will do that hand holding, but then from next classes we are going to run a bit fast. So if you miss tomorrow's class, and if you miss to do activities during the week, I mean, you will have yourself to blame. Because after that, things are will be going bit fast. We will have to move bit more. We have to catch up, and we have to have more speed after that. So we cannot keep on doing things this slow. Okay, so these days, today and tomorrow, is going to be some foundational work which we are doing, a bit hand holding. So be there. Okay, and it's also good activity. So if you are like really stuck, maybe few of you are like not able to proceed forward, right? It is a I would say good opportunity for you, so that I could help you out during the session. Okay, you can just share your screen, and don't worry if you are not able to do this much also. Maybe you couldn't do previous assignments, you are very new to it, and you don't understand how Java works and all, still is okay. If you're not able to do it, then also I will try to help you out, fixing your issues and making things happen there in your own machine system, so to get you started.
When we can expect the recording session for the last Git and GitHubs? Because I was expecting that you have